Sikalove, and welcome to episode 16 of Iconic. Back after a little bit of a hiatus, spent some time traveling Europe. I just recently went to Albania, which was a totally new country for me, brand new experience. So this episode is going to be a banger for the travel junkies. But, I am happy to get back in the chair, chill with Tony, the audience, obviously. So, dude, you ready to jump in this one, bro?
I am ready, man. How was it out there?
Tone, my man, honestly speaking, dude, it was a different world. So, do you know anything about Albania or a little bit?
I know it's like borderline with Greece. Obviously, you speak Albanian there. That's as much as I know.
All right, so Albania, right?
Yeah.
Albania is a very small country in the Balkan regions, which is southern Europe, closer to, obviously, it's actually bordering Greece. But this is a country whose history has been shrouded in mystery for years. In fact, many people have even given Albania the nickname the North Korea of Europe because of how close it was when they were under dictatorship, communism. So yeah, people were very oppressed. They had like terrible economic situation.
Right.
People were actually even they were forbidden from talking to foreigners. And you can almost see the remnants of this even to this day, because the people are just so curious. And anyone that's been to Albania will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The stare that you get, it's ridiculous.
Really?
And people will literally stare at you for like several minutes straight. They're very, very curious people. But I gotta say, the Albanian people are just like next level. When my girl and I first got to the capital, we saw a Mercedes driving by. Mercedes is the car of Albania, by the way. If you've been to Albania, you know. And we see this beautiful girl out the sunroof dancing to traditional music, and I'm like, yo, babe, I think that we're in for a treat with this country. Like, the people are honestly boss.
They're awesome?
They're awesome people, I do have to say.
Dude, that is so crazy, man. Because I remember, like, when I first heard of Albania, I didn't even know that was a country. I didn't know where it was, who it were, and why. But I'm hearing now, and I know our good friend VC was telling us, like, it's a hotspot now, man. Like,
it is a hotspot.
Everybody, like, I when you were sending me those pictures with the water and the ocean and everything, I was like, wow, like, I thought you were in Greece at one point. Since they're so close together.
It's funny. I was getting texts from Verizon. It was like, welcome to Greece, but we were literally on the water, literally just traveling to different, like, isolated beaches. But you know what's crazy, actually? I didn't know this. So in southern Albania, there's actually many people that only speak Greek.
Really?
So it's very mixed down there, and that's something that I found to be very interesting.
Is that only like down on the by the ocean area?
By the coastal area? I would probably say so. Like, I remember like someone pointed out to me, like, oh, look over there, there's the island of Corfu. And it's like, holy crap, like when you're there, you get to actually see just how close these populations really are.
Yeah.
But I wanted to actually go back just for a second, Tone. You brought up an interesting point where you said like how VC was talking about how, by the way, shout out to VC and my boy Denny. Those are the original Albanians that we know from North Jersey. Shout out North Jersey Albanians. But there is a massive wealth gap in Albania.
Really?
And if you go to those big tourist villages or towns like Palas or Dermi, these are some of the names.
Yeah.
You will see pure opulence, like big money.
Really?
Even if you're in the capital city of Tirana, you'll see Lamborghinis, G-Wagons, all the big body whips all around town. But once you leave the capital city, and I got some videos of this, I'll have them pop up on the screen. You literally see guys riding around on a horse and carriage. They're sitting on a pile of hay or oregano going around. And it just shows you that although Albania is becoming a hotspot in Europe, I definitely think, by the way, that Albania is a hidden gem. There's still a long way to go.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean,
it can be rough around the edges at times, for sure.
So you're saying Albania hasn't been open, it just opened up in the 90s?
It just opened up in the 90s. From what I understand, from the 40s onward, it was literally like the North Korea, like the Albanians didn't want connections with the Soviets.
Really?
They didn't want connections with China in any way, shape, or form. It really, you know what I love about Albania too? Albanians have their own identity. Like, if you look at, for example, cultures like Polish, Czech, and Slovak, there are many elements that permeate through one another.
Yeah.
If you look at Belarus, Russia, Ukraine, these cultures are very similar. When you look at a country like Albania, it's its own animal.
It's its own animal.
It's its own animal.
One thing I do gotta say about Albanians and like the country itself is, I feel like they put themselves more on the map than ever while the Euros was going on.
Oh yeah.
Because honestly, like there was like all these Albanians going to Germany, and they were bringing statues over there, and they were like the most patriotic like people for their soccer team during the Euros, and I was like, holy crap! And there was like at one point a stat where there was like 25,000 Albanians compared to like the local Germans that were there. Something weird like that.
That's insane.
And obviously, like, even the crazier thing, their first game was against Italy. Like, first minute, they scored. I'm pretty sure
I remember that. If I'm not mistaken, they have the record for the fastest goal in Euro history.
So I think it's so funny how not only like that, they're like making their global presence just as a country in itself with its own personality, but the fact that now you went out there, obviously you and I have known about Albanian people going out there for so long, but I just think it's so interesting how other countries operate. And you were telling me like there's like different habits out there, like with the staring thing, like that.
The staring thing was so weird, dude. That was one thing I just honestly could not get over with the Albanian people.
I would feel like that's anywhere though. If you're in a third world country or just another country where they're not used to foreigners, especially for a country as young as Albania that at least at this point has had open borders. I mean, I'm sure for the locals that have been there that never seen an American or
they're just very curious people. And you know, something else that I did want to touch on as well is when you go in the summer to Albania, they're giving you like tourist prices, but like bad. Like I couldn't even take a taxi anywhere without dropping minimum 100, 120 euros.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, that's also especially like for them that I feel like they operate only on tourism. They have to. Especially for Americans, it's going to be like, all right, these guys are made out of, money. They can pay the premium.
That's like the story I told you. I got in a taxi with a guy. We agreed on 65 euros for the guy to drive not even an hour.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you won't even find that if you're a taxi driver working in New York City.
Yeah.
But anyway, I get in the car with the guy. Where are you from? I'm from the U.S. He picks up the phone. He starts talking. He's like, American, Americans, and then he's like, he hangs up the phone. He's like, yo, my boy just told me that you should be paying 10 euros more. And I was like, oh my God, I'm literally getting hit with the tourist tax so hard right now.
It really, dude, it is such an epidemic with that specifically because I feel like myself, I've vacationed so much in Mexico, and as soon as you say American, although I do gotta say service out there is top notch.
Yeah.
Like they will bend over backwards for you with a tip if you give them a tip. But I think anywhere you really go to, it's always gonna be that issue.
Yeah, you're always
it's so crazy. Yeah.
You're gonna get hit with the tourist tax big time.
So what would you say is the best thing you enjoyed about Albania?
So I'll tell you this: the food in Albania was top notch.
Really?
The food had a very big... Of course, they have their traditional dishes, but in most restaurants, they have a very big influence from Italian culture. So you'll see dishes like carbonara. You'll see like linguine with like the fruta di mare, like the shrimp, mussels, all things like this. And just the prices for food. Like you can go out to dinner, have a beautiful dinner, and you're dropping no more than, let's just say, like... If you're doing it right, $40 to $50.
So basically, if you're a passport bro and you want to take your lady out somewhere nice and you're on a budget, hit Albania for food.
Hit Albania, but travel by bus. Don't take the taxis. And listen. If I can give one tip to anyone visiting Albania, it would be this: bring your spending money in cash.
Makes sense.
If you don't bring all of it, bring the major part of it because they bend you over if you're a tourist. Like,
do they have that one ATM that's popular out there?
Euronet.
Yeah.
I didn't see Euronet, but all the local and even international banks, they're charging you anywhere from €6, which I saw on the low end, to €10 just to take cash out.
Oh, like almost like a banking fee here, like an ATM
fee.
Like
€6 to €10. And like we go out anywhere around here. If we pay like a $3-4 ATM fee, you feel like you're getting bent over.
Whoa, that's even like casinos. It's normal. You know, you go to any casino, AC, wherever.
That's true.
$8-10. It's not unusual, but for your local TD, let's say use Bank of America TD, it's only $2.
Oh, and by the way, like you can't use your card anywhere.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah, so you're at the mercy of the local currency, and like you pretty much have to rock with that. I mean, they do accept euro, but you need to have cash, period. So if you're one of those travel people that you like to go and put everything on the credit card, do not go to Albania. It's not going to work out.
It's not going to work out.
No.
So that card. Local Seahawkers Bank didn't get you very far.
The most that it got me is I was able to take cash out of the ATM, but for like $10 a pop.
So, you've traveled all around the world. Obviously, you've been to Italy, freaking Georgia, Azerbaijan, the whole nine. Where do you feel like you would rank Albania based on your experience recently? Since you spent it with your lady out there, you were swimming quite a bit. Where would it stand at your top favorite spot you've been at? Especially since you vacationed there the entire time.
Yeah, I did just spend a good bit of time in Albania. So
how long was it? Like 3.5 weeks?
It was like 3.5 weeks. I will tell you this.
All right.
I will definitely be back just because there are so many things to see. Like up north, they have like Tet and Valbona, and they just genuinely do have a very beautiful culture. But I would genuinely have to give Albania on a scale of like 1 to 10. I would say it's like an 8.
Okay.
Because it don't get me wrong, I had a great experience.
Right.
It was a great time. But when I look at like a 10 of 10, I'm thinking about somewhere like Italy where the ancient monarchs were living.
Like a Florence or like out in the hills, a Tuscany.
What is interesting is there is a lot of old Ottoman Empire structures in Albania. Okay. So you do get to see a lot of that end of their history, which is something that we enjoyed. Yeah. But yeah, no, I would definitely have to say that like it falls like it would be an 8 of 10. But would I go back? 100%.
I gotta ask though, bro, and I know you're a married man basically at this point, but how are the ladies out there?
The ladies are beautiful.
Really?
The Albanian chicks are honestly stunning. Uh-huh. It's so weird though. Not just the chicks, like the people in general are stunning. Like Albanian people, their style is...
They're clean. They dress nice.
Clean. Every single guy in Albania, they're rocking a crossbody bag.
Really?
It's designer. I don't know whether it's real or not. That's up to decision.
That's on them. Yeah.
That's on.
They're what do you call it? They're what's the word? What's the thing that means when like you're like they're playing the role? They're looking clean.
They're looking the part.
Yeah, they're looking the part. That's what it is.
But you know what, dude? I will just going back to what we were speaking about earlier. The amount of poverty that I saw in Albania was insane.
It's hit or miss. It's kind of like I hear the same thing with like China, for example. It's like they have their districts, right? You got like the Beijings, the Shanghais, and then you go out into the country and it's like, wait, how do they have these infrastructure? But you go, 200 miles out west and it's like, a wasteland, and people are dying. And
that's exactly what it was, dude. I was walking on the boulevard with my girlfriend in Vlore, and by the way, anyone that's explored Albania can agree with me.
Right.
The city of Vlore is garbage. Albania is a beautiful country. I love Albania, but the city of Vlore itself is garbage, and it's crazy to me how the water can go from looking like the Caribbean in some places like Himare, Borsh, and Cheparo. Yeah. But when you go 45 minutes to an hour up to the city of Vlore, the water becomes murky. It's very shallow. It's just honestly...
It's just not what...
It's disgusting. But anyway, bringing it back. I was walking with my girl on the beach. This was not like some weird, sketchy district of the city. We were walking on the beach. Yeah. And I came across this collection of apartment buildings. I genuinely could not believe that this was Europe in 2024.
And were people living in there?
People were living there. And imagine this, right? I literally saw a staircase without a wall or guardrails around it. Like, picture an apartment building and just stairs going up. And it's like...
That's crazy.
It's honestly insane. And I actually...
And this is Vlore.
This was in Vlore. I snapped a pic. It's right on the beach, right next to some, like, crappy little bar called, like, or something. Like, if you're in Vlore, look out for this spot. I'm going to throw some pics up on the screen. It looks disgusting, dude.
Well, I mean, what do you expect though? Like you said, it's a up and coming country. It's working its way, but that's hilarious. I mean, every part I feel like always has like their.
By the way, but
that's kind of cool though, man. Like, the fact that you get to embrace both sides of it.
Yes,
like,
you genuinely get to see both sides.
But yeah,
Albania is a country of stark contrast. You can genuinely see that throughout. And, the Albanian people don't mess around.
Really?
Like the Albanian people, like
they mean business.
Okay, I got a quick story for you. You ready for this?
Let's hear it.
So, growing up with our Albanian boys in the area, they used to put me on this rapper. His name was Noisy.
Yep.
Noisy is the Drake of Albania.
Yeah.
So, I'm sitting...
Shout out Noisy.
Yeah, shout out Noisy. Noisy, if you hear this, you are formally invited to Iconic Podcast. We'll fly out to Durrës. That's his city, Durrës. So, we're out in Albania. I'm sitting at this, like, small little brunch spot, and I see posters. It's like... Noisy's going to be in town in 2 days doing a concert at this spot called Lamani Beach. So right away, like, my antennas came up. I was interested. I was like, oh, shit, it would be cool.
It's cool to see Noisy,
Being that we're here, Noisy's going to be a 10-minute ride from us. Like, I'm going to go. And I find out the tickets are only going to be like 20 to 30 euros. So,
really?
Yeah, so I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to go. Mind you, people are handing out brochures for this concert. There are posters everywhere in Albania. Like, when I say Noisy is the Drake of Albania, I mean, like, that guy's got, like pull out there. Like, he's that guy.
Yeah.
So, the day comes, we go to Lamani Beach, and right when we get there, I was like this to the guy that works at the gate. I was like this. Yeah. Unyam këtu për Noisy. I was like, I'm here for Noisy in my shitty Albanian. The guy's like, yeah, Noisy got arrested last night.
What?
He's like, Noisy got arrested in Kosovo for fighting. And I was like, yo, did I just get bamboozled? And then I actually looked it up, and the guy got arrested for like getting into a fight with some dude, and I was like, holy shit. That is crazy. But that's just going back to that point. The Albanians don't mess around. I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a good Albanian beach vacation, like, go to those towns like Himare, Dermi, Palas, skip Vlora, and those other towns that are a little bit more up the coast.
You were just more curious, but I'm sure what everyone's going to want to know, especially the viewers that are planning out a vacation out there. What does it cost to get out there?
That's a good question, Tone. And that's something that I feel like we should address going forward with every one of these travel combos.
Of course.
So, my lady and I going together for about a month, we probably spend somewhere like $9,000. And the thing is, Albania, like going from US to Europe, you're dropping money on flights. So the flight alone was $1,250.
Right. That's round trip.
That's round trip.
What were you flying?
I was flying Austrian.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
But you know what I just can't justify, bro? This is the one thing that's kind of like going to Albania.
What is it?
They're going to charge you in those beach towns crazy money for an apartment that looks like it's from the communist era.
Really?
Yeah, so for part of our stay, we stayed like 9 or 10 nights in this like communist type apartment. Granted, it did have a pretty nice view. But
what would really be described like commie? You mean like a Soviet era?
Like, I'm talking about you're walking into like a concrete block. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
How much were you paying for this?
Dude, it was probably like $1,200 for like the 9 nights.
Oh, that's still bread, bro. That's more than $100 a night.
That's
you could stay at the motel for cheaper, and it might be nicer. You got a hot tub over there.
Bro, I don't know about the Royal Motel.
I continue.
They got the honeymoon suite.
They do. For like $65.
But yeah, so like Airbnbs, you're putting out money.
Yeah.
Hotels are even expensive. Like I said, dude, look, so in Albania,
it's peak season. It makes sense.
Peak season. Yeah. Anything from like May to September, you're gonna be getting bent over.
So if I go out there for a week, I'm dropping 15. Let's just say 15 right off the rip. And then all the food is, you said, was cheap.
Food was shockingly cheap. Even drinks were relatively cheap. I mean, I say cheap, but we're from the Northeast, so like for us, the drinks are like stupid.
Right,
expensive.
You go to New York City, you got to pay $18 for a cocktail.
Like they're still charging you in Albania like anywhere from like $6 to $9 for a cocktail.
It's not horrible, but you know what? If you're like European already, those prices are outrageous. You're gonna be like, yo, what is that?
Like the locals ain't paying that.
No, they're not. They're gonna be like,
yo, and then they have like the Raki.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie with you, bro. That Raki stuff. Like, you gave me a shot of it. I don't know how people drink that.
Me neither.
Like, we didn't even have, like, because, like we said, like, homemade Raki, like, I think if there's, like a mass-produced one, it's typically 45% your typical alcohol, right? You know,
right.
90%, I think it's proof, 45% alcohol. But the homemade ones, I was reading, it could be anywhere from 40 to 80%.
Oh, yeah.
And I could tell the one that you got that was homemade from that little shop where you bought it at.
Yep.
Bro, you
that
take
was like 90
sip, you feel the whole thing. It's like you're drinking like rubbing alcohol.
Oh yeah, that thing does a number on you. I told you, I woke up in the middle of the night, my head was pounding. That was 100% the Raki, bro.
Well, bro, I didn't feel right after the Raki. I don't think I'll drink it.
It did us dirty.
Nice little souvenir though, for sure.
It did us dirty.
What is the local beer out there? What's it called?
So they have a few. One is called Beya.
Beya, okay. Is it cheap though, since it's local? Like,
it's cheap. So of the 3 big Albanian beers, Peja,
okay.
Korcha,
okay,
and Elbar. All of the big 3 Albanian beers, I gotta go with Korcha.
Korcha, really?
If you're working with Korcha and you see this video, sponsor Iconic Podcast. Korcha was good beer.
Yo, you know what we should have done? We should have brought some beers out here for that.
We should have brought.
I'm pretty sure we go to like Total Wines. By the way, Total Wines has all the beers. If you ever need beers, Total Wine sponsor us too. All right.
I'm dead.
No, I'm not even kidding. I'm sure we could find it somewhere.
We could definitely.
Obviously, you were drinking all that. What were you drinking out there? A ton of just like I know you're drinking Coronas, probably some Corchas.
I like to stick with the local stuff, but man, I could not get on the Raki, bro.
Do they make cocktails with Raki, or was it straight?
It was just straight.
So it's kind of like what the Koreans do with their like sake or like soju and all that.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Sake is something that I want to experience too, bro. I'm like genuinely experience and try it.
Like a good sake.
Yeah.
You know what we got to go to, honestly, where they have that? Mount Fuji in Suffern, New Jersey.
Oh, the one that's on the cliff?
The one that's on the cliff, they got like a whole menu of like different, obviously, price points of sake from like the $500 bottle one to your typical like $30.
Yeah, something cheaper.
But even then, though, I don't know. I feel like something like drinking Tito's, although no disrespect to sake because I know.
Oh, man. I think something special would be if we ever did a podcast in Japan.
That would be sick, bro.
Because Japan is one of those countries. That's another one of those countries.
Yo, call me crazy, man. One thing I've been noticing recently, everybody wants to go to Japan. Is there some kind of propaganda going on?
I think it's for good reason. Speaking of propaganda, I got something fascinating for you, right? So apparently, there's a population of Korean people that live in Japan, and they go by some name. It starts with a K. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Right.
But as they grow up, they're actually, or at least they were for many years, they're given North Korean propaganda.
Really?
So like they grow up understanding that North Korea is a type of promised land. They get a lot of propaganda, as you can imagine. But what's insane about this is that nearly 100,000 Koreans that were living in Japan moved to North Korea. 100,000 Koreans left Japan and moved to North Korea during like the 70s, 80s, 90s.
You know how disappointing that must have been for them going out there? Imagine like being told like, yo, you're gonna be. It's like when you go to a resort and you see all the beautiful pictures and you get there.
Yeah. Expectations versus reality.
Yeah, but then the worst part is like, all right, this wasn't what I was promised about a bounce. I'm like, yeah, bro, you chilling with us.
It's wild. But dude, I'll tell you this. I always was fascinated in all those closed countries like Turkmenistan, Eritrea, North Korea.
It's so crazy, man, because like it's so interesting what customs there are out there and just like perspectives on life for those people. Like even myself, man, when I used to live in that small village in Mexico called Tuxpan, Michoacan, like even there, like life is so simple sometimes that they just feel like, you know what, if I have my cow, I have my farm, my wife, my kids, and I could provide food for them every day, like.
I'm golden.
I made it in life.
I'm golden.
But even then, to your point, there's so much history too, so much rich history, like in all these different countries. Not even like Mexico, but like you said, like any of those Baltic countries, any of those like Romania, like there's just so much we don't know.
There's so much that we don't know,
and there's so many influence out there. Like their way of life is totally different. One thing that I always find crazy, like even like the things that are so like on left field. I forgot what country it is. I think it is India. Some parts of India or some subgroups out there, like they'll bathe in like cow piss.
Cow piss.
Cow piss because like they feel air in like cow. Because cows are so
sacred. Out there. They're sacred.
They're sacred out there to where they feel like it will help protect them from any sort
You ever see the temples with the rats?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my god.
You see, like that's what my point. To them, that's like their norm.
That's cultural.
Like when we watch those India street vendor videos, like.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's obviously limits.
You think they got organizations checking up on the cleanliness?
So,
that's funny.
But then again, like everything's different, man. Like you come here, you go to your local like Newark-based McDonald's. You think they're washing their hands when they put your burger together? Probably not.
It's so true. It's so true.
Every country has its thing. But no, man, that's so sick though. So obviously we talked about Albania as like the girls, the money, what you're spending, you know, what you think overall about it. What's next for you? Where do you think you're heading to next?
That's a good question, bro. I think that for at least the foreseeable future, right. You know, everything is subject to change. But I think for at least the foreseeable future, I'm going to try to like stay put. But one country that has piqued my interest that I think would be awesome to just talk about and dive into is the country of Genghis Khan.
The country of present day Mongolia.
Yep, Mongolia. Yeah. Because I feel like that's a country that's also got a very crazy past, being taken over by Soviets, pretty much having a border with Russia, China, and the other Central Asian countries. I think that it's fascinating.
There's so much history out there, man. That's the crazy. I think it's so interesting, specifically with like Genghis Khan himself and the way he essentially like ruled that entire for quite a bit of time. Like he has like thousands. Well, no. Let me rephrase that. The Mongolian people in that general region, there's thousands of his own descendants because he would consistently go into like different villages, the woman, and like, and I'm not laughing at that piece, but just the fact that like, dude, his family tree that starts with him is fucking. I'm pretty sure.
Imagine how many people on Ancestry.com are linking up.
Well, they make that joke with what's his name, Thomas Jefferson. He ran a lot of plantations.
Yep.
And they're saying that he used to have sexual relations with the slave. Shit. So when you would go back and run your ancestry, you'd be like, what the fuck?
That's wild.
It's nuts, man. But no, to your point. So many countries out there, man. I feel like if I were to go out and want to learn more about a country, it would honestly have to be Japan. Japan has such like a ancient rich history. I would even think like a country like Thailand too, like their buildings, their whole infrastructure, aside from like the Bangkok and all the parties.
Yeah, you're talking about like Chiang Mai, other northern regions where the tribes are living.
So much, and just like their traditions, their values, like how they shape their country. Because we think about America, we think about the Constitution, we think about our rights, freedom of speech, right, which is a big thing right now that we keep embracing. But then I feel like we're still a very young civilization compared to what's been going on for thousands of years out in the east.
It's so true, dude. It's insane like how old some of these countries are. But what I find to be crazy is like America is such a young country. We're light years ahead of so many of these countries that are like hundreds, if not thousands, of years old. Like, make it make sense,
You know what? You bring such a good point, man. Because something you were telling me before, I think it all starts with the youth. Like, and you know what? I think with us specifically, I think we've always were I would say the country always headed like from how do we get from point A to point B to point A like as quickly as possible. Like, how do we really revolutionize? And I think the one thing we did very well was becoming a melting pot. Like, we didn't just do it ourselves. Like, half the inventions are somebody foreign, somebody from some certain background. The best,
you're right. You're not wrong.
If you look at like the best software engineers, there's a big Indian presence there, right? Or Japanese presence. Like, those are the people. But we bring the best talent because we have the most resource, have the most money. That's why people talk about Silicon Valley, the billionaires row. It's like, that's where all the tech companies live. Like, if you want to become, get something off the ground, you recruit them. And what do people do? They come here. So I think that's the advantage we've had as a country where we've had the resources, we've had the development, we have the money. Our currency is very strong. I think we've, as a group, we've had great leaders, great presidents that I think made the right things happen when we needed it to.
Listen, I'll tell you what, dude. Again, if you are a digital nomad type person and you're looking for somewhere to go, especially if you got like an American passport, let Albania be your spot. And the reason I say that is because you can find apartments for like 150, 200, 250, 300 euros in the capital city.
That's sick.
It's insane. So like if you're earning some sort of income online and you're looking for a place to escape, I think that Albania should be right up there with Georgia. And let's just say they do down the line get indoctrinated into the European Union, you're pretty much going to inherit a passport.
I was going to ask that. So they're not in the European Union.
They're not in the European Union, yet you can pay everywhere with euro currency. It's so weird.
What are they operate as a government? Are they still communist? No, right? Are they still Republican?
Nah, not communist anymore, but I couldn't even tell you what their political system's like.
Well, what did you notice? Oh, you did make an interesting comment. I want to go back to that real quick about the people there. What was the thing you were telling me? They love their cigarettes out there, right?
Oh my God! You know how the Europeans are in general. Like the people out there, they're smoking. They're not smoking cigarettes. They're eating cigarettes.
I noticed that's like a very big European thing. Like, so check this out real quick. So I saw a couple stats recently.
Not too many Americans are on that shit.
Gen Z, the Gen Z generation has said there was a study done that the consumption of cigarettes and alcohol is at an all-time low. Like from that generation.
That's big.
So I'm almost curious to see, like, based on what you saw, did you see like a lot of young people smoking, like chain smoking?
Everyone young. Everyone in Europe, like even Italy, it's same. So many people are smoking.
How weird is that too, though? Even like I remember when my cousin was out in London, like he told me like drinking 3 pints a day is like a common thing.
That's
like,
common.
Like you wake up, you go to work, you're at lunch.
Have a couple pints of warm beer. A nice ale.
Dude, can you imagine going to work and just being like, all right, man, well, 3 of these and we'll head back, we'll get our job done. And then afterwards we'll get some, we'll get some post.
Americans low-key do it too during happy hour, but obviously not to the same
extent. But over there it's like culturally accepted. Like there it's almost encouraged. Like, dude, go have your drink. And especially, and keep in mind, here's we're 21. Over there it's like 18.
If you can sit at the bar, you're golden.
Dude, that's so nuts, man. So,
but listen, dude.
Yeah.
To put on in a final note,
yeah,
I think that Albania is a fascinating place. I think that it's a beautiful country with insane nature. There are hospitable people, of course, and I think that your dollar does still go a long way. So, if anyone is thinking about going to Albania, I do highly recommend it, and I even view it as kind of like the new Croatia. So, if you are thinking about going to Albania, this is your sign.
And also just to kind of to that point, I do gotta ask, if you're a passport bro, is it a good passport bro destination?
It's probably a good destination for a passport bro. I would have to say yeah.
Love it, man. Always a pleasure, bro. Welcome back, though.
Dude, I appreciate it. Guys, as we said in the past, we're going to start rocking with shorter pod episodes. So subscribe, ring the notification bell. Let us know about your experiences in Albania down in the comment section. And we'll catch you guys all on episode 17.
Peace.
Take care.